What's up, guys? Welcome back to our series on how to stream. My name is Gutex.
My name is Louis, aka Offcast.
So today we're going to be talking about some of the hardware involved in streaming. You know, there's so many options. You have desktops, laptops, capture cards, microphones, headsets.
Yeah, so basically I just want to, for each segment, like for, our computer, our audio, and our video, I just want to give you guys, instead of going into buy this brand, buy this brand, buy this brand, I just want to give you guys, just basic minimums for each different thing that you can use.
Options,
yeah. Because
this technology changes all the time. I mean, you could be watching this, 6 months from now, a year from now, and if we were to recommend specific hardware, that might be outdated.
Would be snickering at us
worst
streaming tutorial ever.
Yeah, exactly. But we can give you guys some recommendations about the current state of the hardware and the types of things that you're going to need to keep in mind no matter when you're watching this.
Yeah. So let's start with computer first. First of all, laptop versus desktop. Now, laptop is convenient. It's portable. It's easy to move around. But fundamentally, it's always going to be weaker, power processing wise, than a desktop. Also, with desktop, you can, build upon it. Eventually everything hits its peak, but you can add more things to it.
You could add a second capture card. You could add you can upgrade your graphics card, add more RAM if you need it, upgrade the processor. But on a laptop, a lot of those things are much harder to do. Yeah.
So basically, I started streaming in 2010, and that should give you a good basic entry point. If you have a computer made by 2009, 2010, it should be good enough. The standard, I want to say, is a dual-core i5 machine. That should be the standard. It should have its own graphics card. You really want to have its own graphics card. You can have an ATI, NVIDIA, whatever. You don't want to just go with the integrated graphics.
Right, because that'll tax your processor. That could be, those processor cycles could be spent on encoding the video.
Yeah. So, and also, you want to make sure to have a line-in port or an external sound card. Just because, when you're putting in game audio or your microphone or whatever, I would just recommend, it's an optional thing, but have a better than standard sound card.
Right.
That'll come into play later. So basically, most of the stuff you're going to be using is going to be USB 2.0. I think all computers will have that by now. If you have USB 3.0, great. There's only one specific device, and it's not the best. If you have an express card port, great. It opens some more options up.
On your laptop.
On your laptop, or even on your PC.
Mm-hmm.
You want to have PCI ports open for certain capture cards. But basically, as long as you have a USB 2.0, a line in, and, a semi-recent PC, you should be able to stream.
Mm-hmm.
The next part is video. How do I get video in? And there's basically two main sources for that. There's a webcam, and then there's a capture card. Most webcams, $100. I highly recommend Logitech cams. They're pretty solid. And you just plug those in, install the drivers. Very important. Install the drivers, and they'll be good to go. And later on we'll show you how they actually interact with the stream software. Capture cards. You can find a lot of capture cards for $200 or less that are USB 2.0. There's a ton of brands, AverMedia, Blackmagic, that one, AverMedia, Elgato. You can research them yourself, but just know that for those capture cards on USB 2.0, they're always going to have a little bit of delay because, they process.
Right, and that can definitely make things so much harder than it needs to.
Yeah, as you expand.
That would be one of the advantages of using an internal graphics card on a desktop. I think that if you are using a desktop, you should definitely use the internal cards. There's no reason to use USB 2. But if you have a laptop, we're assuming that most of you guys are going to try to get started with the hardware that you already have.
Yeah.
If you got a ton of money to invest in streaming hardware, then you can just buy the top of the line PC and then get, fill it with capture cards and the most RAM and all that stuff. But the important thing to realize is that if you have a desktop, use the PCI Express cards.
Yes.
And if you have a laptop, then you're going to have to look into USB 3 versus USB 2 capture devices.
For the most part, for a beginner, you're just going to have to deal with the USB 2 devices. And they've gotten better now with time, but later on we'll show you how those integrate with it. But they're solid enough. They work. You can get the job done with them. Like you said, PC, internal cards. So that's pretty much it. You got your webcams, you got your capture cards, and that's how you get video into the machine. And that's the whole point.
Right. Yeah. So for the people that are watching, now versus like 5 years from now, should we just talk about some of the capture cards specifically?
We can talk about a couple of them.
Let's just talk about what we have.
Okay, so this is actually, there's a ton of stuff going on here. So for, a traditional video game feed, like an HDMI feed or a camera or something, the capture card we have here is AverMedia.
The C127.
C127.
Which is the Game Broadcaster HD.
So basically, you can use component in, or you can use
HDMI.
HDMI.
There's also
even
the
VGA.
Right. Yeah, and there's also the Blackmagic Intensity, but I don't have one of those. Let's not even talk about that. On your laptop.
On my laptop, I've used two kinds of cards. Well, actually, I've used three because I've had a lot of different laptops. The most standard card that I've always used, and it's external because there's no way to get an external one. So it's this. It's the Matrox. Basically, it's a express card out. So I had to find a laptop that I express card. But also, this device is a little bit future-proof because you can actually find an adapter that does Thunderbolt. So a lot of newer computers have Thunderbolt. And this is a device I use. It's really solid. And also, it's one of the few laptop capture cards that won't have a delay, like the USB 2.0 devices. It won't have a delay on the feed coming in.
Because it's using...
Express card.
Yeah.
Or in the future, it'll use Thunderbolt. So it has a bandwidth to send the feed without delay. The other device would be this Elgato one. This is a USB 2.0 capture card. And you can see it takes, can take either, with the dongle, it can take, component, or it can take HDMI in. And it's got a pass-through to send to your monitor. Because since this thing has a delay on it, the idea is that you use the pass-through to hook up the, monitor so you can actually see real time instead of the delay in the software. It's a really good device, very solid, pretty cheap. I think it's about $170. And the only problem you got to deal with is that, on screen is the delay. And the delay only really affects things when you start putting multiple video feeds on top of each other. Right.
If you have the game video coming in as well as the webcam on top of it, it's going to be out of sync.
Yeah. So those are a couple of devices you can use. There's tons more. There's the Live Gamer. The only other laptop device without delay is a USB 3.0 device called the Blackmagic Intensity Shuttle.
Yes, I've used one of those.
It's not future-proof because basically all the new laptops coming out have Intel chipsets or some other type of chipset, and it's just not compatible with it.
Yeah, the Blackmagic requires the Renesas.
Yeah,
Renesas chip. So you have to, if you are considering buying the Blackmagic Intensity Shuttle, the USB 3 device, you have to make sure that you have the proper chipset on your laptop.
Yeah, you have to do your research, and all the major laptop manufacturers, list the chipset that they have on it. And I can guarantee you, any new laptop you buy is going to be an Intel chipset on it.
Right.
Only I think the second generation of the motherboards have it. So that takes care about video devices. Let's go on to audio sources.
Do you want to talk about cameras?
Like webcams or?
Yeah.
Oh, webcams. So.
What kind of camera do we have?
So the kind of camera that we'll be showing later on, it's a Logitech C920. It's their newest webcam, very cheap, $80. USB 2.0 hooks up, no delay, 720 video feed. Their one right below that, the 920 is very good too. There's also Microsoft Live Cams, not the most solid, a little picky, not the best video feed. If you want to go really old school, there are FireWire webcams. Those look terrible.
Right. But you could also go on the higher end, which would be using DSLRs.
You could use DSLRs, but that's...
There's a little bit of secret sauce involved.
Yeah, that's...
a lot of secret sauce.
Yeah.
That's going to be its own video.
Yeah, that's a top secret tech right there for later.
Yeah. That is top secret tech.
And so I think that pretty much takes care of the video sources, right?
Sure. Okay, so now let's talk about audio. You have your onboard, or you have if you want to use the microphone on the webcam on Logitech, that could work.
Yeah. Basically, your microphone sources are going to break down like this. Like, the cheapest one is if, you're on a laptop, it has a built-in microphone.
Mm-hmm.
Cheapest option. If you're on a desktop, like, I know a lot of people have, like, those little, like, cheesy microphones.
Yeah, little computer mics.
Yeah. That's the lowest end. And then the next step of that is a lot of the webcams have mics built in. Another step, more on the same level, is a lot of you have a lot like this, like
gamer headsets.
Gamer headsets. So some of these are analog, some of these are USB. This one happens to be both. Creative Sound Blaster. There's also the Mad Catz Triton headsets, Astro headsets, tons of gamer headsets. They plug in and they're a very easy mic source to use. And also, another good part is you can monitor all the audio with using these. So you can listen to like the game sound, and
we'll have to talk. We'll have to go through that later because that'll be its own separate thing. Audio routing.
Yeah, audio routing in a computer. And I guess
then past that, I guess would be using a mixer.
A mixer, and that would probably be like I'm making a full-fledged production.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna have multiple mic sources. Maybe some commentators. Now I want to mix my game sound in with the commentator sound. Maybe I want to have some music playing in the background. And so mixers. Most people are familiar with Behringer mixers.
Those are the low-end mixers.
Yeah, those are the low entry-level. You can buy one for $40. Whereas I know this can stack up on money just starting off streaming, I would highly recommend allocating more of the budget towards buying a higher level mixer. You want to spend at least $150 on the mixer, and you'll have a good mixer that will last you for a while and will also be expandable enough as your stream grows.
But you only need a mixer if you are trying to get multiple sources in, multiple analog audio sources in.
Yeah.
Because if, for example, you were just trying to stream yourself playing an Xbox game, you would only need one audio source.
Yeah, you would just need your mic.
Technically, yeah, like you could just use one of these headsets, which plugs into the microphone jack on your PC.
Or USB.
Or USB, and then take the game audio. So you wouldn't need a mixer in that scenario. But if you were trying to do something like stream a tournament where you had like 2 commentators, then you would certainly need a mixer for that.
Yeah. So that's pretty much your mic options and your audio options. We could probably go in further about, I guess we could probably go in later on about how to set up a mixer properly. And I'm sure we have some fun stories about dealing with audio.
Oh my God. We had a fun story earlier today.
Yeah.
How many stream professionals does it take to get your audio right in XSplit? But I think that about wraps up hardware.
Yeah, for hardware, that's it. Your computer, your video, and your audio.
Okay, so sit tight, guys. Next time we're going to be talking about software.
Software, yes.
All right. Thanks for watching. See you later.